Okay, I think that these are sabal palmettos. I am not positive, but they do very well here. I've cut down two of them so far, and these are just new trees that have come up in that area from the nuts from the old trees. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. See that? I've worked my way around like this with this tool, up and down, and it gets deeper and deeper when I do the back and forth motion. See, it just goes deeper and deeper. And then eventually, if you go all the way around these palm trees, you're cutting those roots. I'm not cutting a lot, but I'm loosening the soil around the root ball. And what you can do is put this, if you want to really ensure the survival of this plant, you can put the soil back in because you've loosened and cropped the roots, but it's in its own environment, right? So it's going to recover from the shock of the root cutting and displacement, right? But it's in its native soil, so that it'll recover much more quickly than if you went ahead and transplanted it. So let it recover. I used to have a neighbor who was a tree farmer, Japanese maples, and he would go cut around his roots. He would, with a shovel, just when he knew he was getting ready to sell it within months, with these expensive maples that he had in the ground, he would just crop the roots with a shovel. And then when it was time to dig it out, it wasn't such a shock because he didn't have to cut any roots. So look at that lift up. Look at that, ready to come out. Very slowly and carefully. Well, I've heard of bag ladies. You're pretty much the first box lady I've ever seen.
This is not it either. I'm coming back for more.
Oh boy. Trashy people.
Yep.
Right. Now here is a smaller palm, a much smaller palm. This right here. Now see, this is the native soil, and so is this. And I'm transplanting this out here, and I don't give this too much effort. I figure on about a 50 to 70% success rate with these transplants, depending on how much attention I give it. But here's some of the native soil. Put that down in there. And rest this in here. And I might get a little more soil to backfill it. And then I'll mulch it, and it'll probably take. Best time to do this stuff is in spring, in the cool weather. After you've had all your freezes, you can still frost, but don't wait till hot weather to do this for obvious reasons. He's going to be fragile. Now, it should go without saying, I'm not pretending to be a horticulturist. I'm a homeowner, although I have worked with plants in probably the 80s. So there he is right there, and I think what I'm going to do is put him over here, right about here in front of this fence. As you're driving in, you'll have depth of field, palm trees. Over here, these are volunteers from previous palms that were here and here. See, you can always use this area as a palm nursery. Lots of pine straw around these. They do great. Time for more, but my store, every time I go to my home improvement store, they're out. The big box trailers are empty. Also going to transplant some of these bananas. I've done that around here. I've got some growing out back. And soon this will just be an explosion of banana trees. Love them. This is one that I put in a couple of weeks ago, and look, I didn't even mulch this. I just put a little bit of pine straw, and it obviously has survived and will take. So what I'm going to do is maybe brick around it and dam around it and create a mound with some mulch, give it even a more favorable environment. And if you look over here, This might be interesting to some. As I said, I'm not really a horticulturist. This tree, this is a windmill palm. I have another one behind the house, and I just love them. And for some reason, it's been dormant. I think it's coming. I think this will be its first real growth season. I put it in last spring or summer. Maybe it was too hot by the time I put it in. But I think it's coming out of dormancy. Definitely not dead. So I might trim off all these unhappy fronds and let it shoot out. Again, that one might need a proper mound too. But I'm sure some horticulturists will help us out to understand that. Oh, by the way, the difference between your windmill palms, I've learned this recently, and Mexican fan palms, which look very similar, is that these don't bite. The Mexican fan palms do. They have the bad thorns, very bad thorns, but they're beautiful. And off she goes. Have a great day, my love.
You too.
Mwah. Love you. Bye. The lean, mean, green dream machine. There it goes. What's happening?
Oh, well, I'm just carrying her up here.
Apparently I'm really heavy.
Is there a problem, Jen?
Little baby.
She's a little bit heavier than Ruby. Not much, actually.
I also have plenty of blue agave, agave azul, and I think that this is a tequila plant. You ferment this and get your tequila. I've given away a good bit of this. They take very easily. I have them all over the place. I've put them at different properties. Man, you pull these pups out of here. They're called pups. Pull a little root up with them. You got about a 95% chance of survival. So I can sell these too. I may offer these online for sale because it's just an enjoyable plant to have, and why not spread it around? Wow, I'm really getting into the palm tree thing today. I've done videos about this is not a palm, but this is a flying dragon that I brought from my farm. I sold. A lot of you know that I sold my farm. You see the thorns? They resemble what you might think dragon claw would look like. Hence the name flying dragon. It's got another name. It's a citrus bearing tree. Got a citrus fruit to it. I like to muddle them and mix them with gin. Very interesting flavor. That's my white ginger that I talked about. Here is my banana. I told you I transplanted that last season, so this season it'll come up really strong, especially if I mulch it. Another transplanted palm. This is what I want to talk about. This is I think a Pindo. Yeah, is that right? Yeah, Pindo. And she froze pretty good. Oh, look at this. This seed, I keep them covered with canvas, and here's a forgotten clip from a canvas. But look what happened to this when it froze. In the wintertime, I put a log in this cavity. It's a deep rotted cavity. Yet somehow it has survived a couple of years in this condition. Look how little is left of this tree. Now, interesting thing I wanted to say is the lady at the palm tree place explained to me that something like this might be this might be my age, or at least half of my age. She was giving me numbers like 30, 45 years for a decent sized tree, which is a very slow growing palm. These are real subject to these cold, freezing winds coming up off the intracoastal waterway, but they survive. What I like to do is tuck a bunch of burlap up around the crown. It's kind of challenging to get it around these thorns and stuff. You can wrap burlap around the trunk as well. But look, here's an example of growth rate. This one I put here. There's a bunch of seedlings over, saplings, whatever you want to call them. I think I put this one here 2 years ago. So it has grown to that size from this. See how big around this is? Big around is a $50 down at the base. In 2 years, it's grown to that. So when I'm long dead, it'll be this size, or well, maybe the size of that one over there. Fig tree is coming nicely.
Whoa, that's good.
You want to know something cool?
Yes.
You look, come over here. You match this. Here, stand over here. You match those speakers, the covers. I bought that in Burbank in 1990, and it was in the delivery room when you gave birth to
yeah.
Destin, our first child.
Brought our boom box.
Yeah, in 1991. So
Yeah.
we've had this thing for 30 years. huh?
Wow.
That's
And
amazing.
it's not even ruined yet.
Yeah, well, if we leave it in a rental, it will be.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm starting some white ginger over here. See this? By the wood pile. And what I love to do is take these hanging baskets. You know, the ferns, they die. I actually found these at one of my rental properties. Somebody just throws them out in the trash. They're loaded with fertilizer and great soil. Yeah, rotting roots aren't so good, but you don't need those. You can just shake out the soil. I'm putting most of the fertilizer adjacent to the white ginger. I just pulled this out of the ground in a ditch somewhere. But God, I love this plant. You'll get hummingbird moths and beautiful fragrant white flowers, and this, if with any luck, this whole area will just be filled with these tall canes of white ginger.